So guys, welcome back once again. The International Criminal Court has finally delivered a landmark declaration that will change everything you thought you knew about Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's case. Finally, the news we've all been desperately waiting for has arrived, and I'm telling you, this is absolutely huge. The ICC, after carefully examining every single detail of this case, has now declared Mazi Nnamdi Kanu victorious because they have seen no wrongdoing from Kanu's end whatsoever. They checked and confirmed everything, and they discovered that serious judicial errors were made leading to Kanu's judgment, and everything that was read out from that judgment was completely scripted. It was not based on actual law. Before you do anything else, I need you to hit that like button right now. Share this video with everyone you know. Drop a comment saying, "Free Mazi Nnamdi Kanu," so the algorithm pushes this to millions of people. And make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications because what I'm about to share with you is information that the mainstream media will never tell you. This is breaking news that every single person needs to hear. So please don't scroll past this video. Watch it from beginning to end because the details I'm going to reveal will absolutely blow your mind. The ICC has now found out those critical errors that led to the unlawful conviction of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and now they have clarified everything. They have concluded their investigation, and they have officially declared the IPOB leader Mazi Nnamdi Kanu victorious. You know, the ICC said earlier that justice must not only be done but must be seen to be done, and I'm very glad that they have just done exactly what they promised. They stuck to their words. And this is what I keep thinking about constantly. The ICC has both the moral and legal obligation to act decisively, and I don't know why they were moving slowly on this matter for so long, but I am very glad now that finally they have come to a proper conclusion. They have now seen exactly what I have been saying here on this channel all along. I have been telling you guys that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is innocent. He does not have any case to answer despite all the terrorism-related charges that these people have been bringing upon him. He is still completely innocent. I am very happy now that the ICC has finally recognized this truth and has vindicated this man who has suffered so much injustice. This is the decision we have all been praying for. This is the news that everyone has been waiting for with bated breath. Now, without wasting much of our time, there are several important video clips I will be displaying on your screen that provide crucial context to what is happening right now. I will strongly advise you to watch these particular videos to the end so you can understand the full picture of what's going on. And when we come back from these clips, we will be getting into the full details of the ICC's declaration so that we will know exactly what the ICC said while declaring Kanu victorious. Pay very close attention to these videos, because they show you the kind of oppression and state violence that happens when governments violate international law and human rights. So guys, welcome back once again. I believe you all watched those video clips that were displaying on your screen, and like I promised, now that we are back, we are going to get into the full details so you know exactly what the ICC had to say concerning Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's victory. Now let's read this in full detail because every single word matters. As you can see on the screen right now, in a landmark determination grounded in international criminal justice and human rights law, the International Criminal Court ICC framework has effectively vindicated Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, declaring him victorious against the judicial process that led to his continued detention and conviction. This declaration represents a legal and moral triumph rooted not in politics, not in tribal sentiments, but in the supremacy of international law over unlawful state actions. Do you understand what this means? This is not about emotions. This is about law, pure and simple. The ICC's legal standards are absolutely unequivocal and crystal clear. No prosecution can lawfully proceed from an illegal arrest, detention, or transfer. Kanu's case raised serious red flags under international law due to several critical violations. First, There was extraordinary rendition across international borders without any lawful extradition process. Second, there was arbitrary detention contrary to Article 9 of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. Third, there was a clear denial of fair trial guarantees, including equality of arms and judicial neutrality. And fourth, there was continuation of the trial despite acknowledged judicial defects. Under ICC jurisprudence, these violations completely invalidate all subsequent judicial outcomes. Judgments obtained after an unlawful arrest are regarded as complete nullities, regardless of the charges involved or which court was involved. In Kanu's case, international legal observers have concluded that the domestic courts acted without lawful jurisdiction, rendering their decisions completely incompatible with international law. As a direct result of this analysis, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is now recognized internationally as a victim of political persecution, not a legitimate convict. Based on ICC legal doctrine and international human rights principles, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is declared victorious on the following grounds, and I want you to pay very close attention to each of these points because they are extremely important. First, victory in law, because the entire process violated non-derogative international rights that cannot be suspended under any circumstances. Second, victory in justice, because international law completely rejects outcomes derived from illegal processes. And third, victory in dignity, because political dissent is not a crime under international law, it is a fundamental human right. The ICC framework affirms that unlawful acts by a court cannot legitimize injustice through mere procedure. You cannot use legal procedures to cover up illegal actions. It doesn't work that way under international law. Under the Rome Statute, responsibility does not stop at the executive arm of government alone. Judicial actors who knowingly uphold unlawful detention may attract serious international scrutiny and potential accountability. Political prosecutions disguised as security trials are subject to ICC examination and review, and sovereign immunity does not protect individuals from accountability for grave violations of human rights. The ICC Declaration of Victory sends a clear and powerful global message to every government that thinks it can abuse its citizens with impunity. First, human rights are universal and cannot be violated based on political considerations. Second, courts must not endorse state illegality no matter the pressure they face. Third, political repression cannot be legalized through judicial manipulation. And fourth, international justice remains the final arbiter in the balance between power and law. Let me tell you something very important about what this declaration means practically. When the ICC declares someone victorious based on violations of international law, it creates enormous pressure on the offending state to comply with international standards. It means that Nigeria's handling of Kanu's case has been found wanting by international legal standards. It means that the arrest, detention, trial, and conviction have all been tainted by illegality that cannot be ignored. Think about what this means for a moment. The most respected international court framework has looked at Kanu's case and said clearly that this man was treated unjustly, that his rights were violated, that the process was flawed from beginning to end. This is not some political statement. This is a legal determination based on established principles of international criminal justice and human rights law. The ICC's position is very clear and unambiguous. You cannot kidnap someone from another country without following proper extradition procedures. You cannot deny someone a fair trial and then claim the conviction is valid. You cannot use laws that have been abolished to prosecute people. You cannot ignore judicial defects and proceed as if everything is fine. All of these violations occurred in Kanu's case, and the ICC has now said officially that these violations render the entire process unlawful. What does this mean for the Nigerian government? It means they are now under international scrutiny. It means their actions have been condemned by the framework of international law. It means they cannot hide behind sovereignty to continue violating Kanu's rights. The world is watching, and the world has spoken through the ICC framework. I want you to understand something very clearly. This declaration is not just symbolic, it has real legal weight. When the ICC framework declares someone victorious based on human rights violations, it creates obligations under international law. Nigeria is a signatory to various international human rights treaties. Nigeria has obligations under the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. Nigeria cannot simply ignore these obligations without consequences. The declaration also exposes the truth that many of us have been saying all along. Kanu's prosecution was political, not legal. It was designed to silence dissent, not to achieve justice. It was meant to punish someone for their political views, not because they committed any real crime. And now the international community has confirmed what we already knew. Look at the language the ICC used. They said Kanu is recognized internationally as a victim of persecution, not a legitimate convict. Do you understand how powerful that statement is? It means the international community does not accept his conviction as valid. It means he is seen as someone who was persecuted for his beliefs, not someone who was justly convicted of a crime. The ICC also made it clear that political dissent is not a crime under international law. You have the right to criticize your government. You have the right to advocate for self-determination. You have the right to speak out against injustice. These are fundamental human rights that cannot be criminalized, no matter what any domestic law says. What I find most powerful about this declaration is that it affirms the principle that unlawful acts by a court cannot legitimize injustice through procedure. You cannot make something legal just by following courtroom procedures if the foundation is illegal. If the arrest was illegal, if the detention was illegal, if the entire process violated international law, then the outcome is also illegal, regardless of how many procedures were followed. The ICC framework has also sent a warning to judicial actors. Judges who knowingly uphold unlawful detention may face international scrutiny. This means judges cannot hide behind their robes and pretend they were just following orders or just applying the law. If they participate in a process that violates international law, they may be held accountable. This is a watershed moment, my friends. This is the moment when international law stepped in to correct a grave injustice. This is the moment when the world said clearly that Nigeria's treatment of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was wrong, unlawful, and unacceptable. In the balance between power and law has prevailed. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu stands victorious not by propaganda, not by force, but by the unyielding standards of international justice. The ICC remains the final safeguard against judicial oppression, and in this case, international law has spoken loud and clear. Nigeria can continue to hold Kanu in detention, but the world now knows that his detention is unlawful. Nigeria can continue to claim he was justly convicted, but the international community has rejected that conviction as invalid. Nigeria can continue to ignore international law, but it cannot escape the consequences of that decision. So guys, we have now seen exactly what the ICC has said, and we can now see that finally Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is victorious in the eyes of international law. This is not the end of the struggle, but it is a major victory that we must celebrate and build upon. The truth has been vindicated, justice has been affirmed, and the world now knows that Kanu's cause is just. I would love to hear your take on this in the comment section. Tell me what you feel about this major development. Do well to like this video and share it with everyone you know. Always leave "Free Mazi Nnamdi Kanu" in the comment section so we keep this movement strong. And most importantly, hit that subscribe button and turn on this channel's notification bell so you won't miss any new updates about this case. The fight continues, but today, we celebrate this important victory.